going into this hive today as we split it last Saturday, and we were feeding it, and we're just going to check now to see whether the bees are taking the food down and using it to build up their framework, which looks very good actually. I'll just lift the lid and have a look and see, and it's empty, so they've really done well here taking down the syrup. So we just need now to top it up. So we have to pour it fairly slowly because the bees that are down the bottom of the little cup need to then work themselves back up again and they don't drown. So we're going to fill it about half full, and then we'll come back again on Monday and see the situation again.
Full in. Okay.
And that's all we have to do with that hive.
So you can see this one's tongue sticking out, trying to get the last of the syrup.
This is just another one of the splits we've made, and again they've emptied the feeder completely. They're all inside looking for food, and of course they're coming up around the outside hoping to find something, but there isn't anything there. So we're going to remove the feeder. We've given them sufficient because they've had a complete week of it. Easy bees, isn't it?
Yeah.
So this is the one that we split on Saturday and left it queenless. So today we're just going to go through and have a look and see what they've done, whether they've created queen cells or not. We need to remove most of the queen cells and really just leave one really good queen cell, which they will then develop and cap, and that should make a good queen. Just checking on this particular one, and you can see they've built a queen cell on the bottom. Unfortunately it's been damaged as we've taken the frame out, but we've already found quite a few really good queen cells that aren't capped. But that's just to show you what they look like, and they usually do put them on the bottom, but of course they can get damaged quite easily. Now here's a really good example of a capped queen cell hanging from the bottom of the frame. Looks like it's going to be the one we'll actually keep. And so we don't damage it anymore, we're going to put it in the bottom box where it has clearance underneath, so it won't actually get damaged, and the bees are looking after it. So after finding that lovely one on the bottom of the frame, which we'd have to look after, we've now found a really super one hanging on the side of the frame. Now the chances of this one will not get damaged, which is so much better. So we've decided we'll actually keep this particular queen cell for this hive. any others now that we find we'll actually destroy.
A very nice, easy to reach swarm. But they've done it on purpose for us. It's not a very big swarm because we believe quite a lot of the bees have flown back to the hive, which is just over there. But it looks like the queen is in the middle of this cluster. But she'll be deep inside. So there's not really a hope of me finding her. We'll just have to wait for them to settle down and then we'll collect them in a box. And this is the hive that they swarmed out of. And you can see that they're all fanning the entrance. Which is really confusing because it makes you think that the queen is still inside the box rather than on the tree. So we don't know, but we've got a lot of hive to check. We can just leave them to it and see what they decide in a few hours' time.
So now we're going to look in to the hive that swarmed. It seems, looking at the swarm over there, that only a few have decided to stay with the queen, or we think the queen certainly is in that swarm over there. What we need to do now is just look inside this hive and see whether they actually have created a queen cell, and that's the reason for them swarming, or that they just weren't happy bunnies and they decided to go after we fed them. So we're going to go in now and have a look, just make sure and see what's going on. This was the frame that we put in last week that we intended the queen to lay into. What they've done is they've completely filled it with most likely the sugar syrup that we've given them. So in fact she has nowhere to lay on the 3 frames that we put in there. One of pollen, one of nectar, and then the empty frame. And this one is chock-a-block. This was completely empty. So that might be a reason why they've gone, because they haven't got space, or she's got no space at all to lay anything. So we're going to swap some of the undrawn comb that we have and put drawn comb in there to give her some space to lay, and we're going to take the feeder off so they don't fill up the empty drawn comb that we're going to put in the box, which will give her the chance then to start laying.
They've gone. We've come back in the evening and they've gone. Flown off somewhere. So that's a bit of a lesson to be learnt. Not to wait too long before you collect them. So unfortunately, this hive down here doesn't have any queen or any brood in.
This is the hive that swarmed yesterday, didn't know what it was doing, went into one tree, then came back to another tree over here. And then as we went away and came back, the swarm had disappeared. So what we're doing today is just checking to see whether they've actually gone back into the hive. We don't think they have, but it's a possibility that they have. The reason being is that the noise they're making is usually the sound of a hive that hasn't got a queen. So we're just going to go in now and have a look and just see whether we can find the queen or not. We've now gone through all the 3 boxes, had a thorough search to look for the queen, no queen, so therefore we assume that the swarm did fly off yesterday, and all we found is one miserable looking queen cell with 1 larvae in it, and that's all that she left behind. So the hive wouldn't do particularly well with that 1 cell, and it looked a bit damaged anyway. So what we're going to do now is we're going to bring up another queen from a nucleus we have at home and requeen the hive.
So here's the nuke, 2 boxes of 5 frames. So we need an extra frame to fill up this rose hive box that we're going to put them in. We've got to check that the queen is actually still here because we haven't checked for a few weeks, but we're pretty certain she will be, and she'll be laying lots of brood, and that will accelerate the hive that's lost the queen. So I've only just taken out one frame, and we can already see that there are plenty of eggs around the side and larvae in the middle, and capped on the other side. So we don't even need to look for the queen, we know she's here. So I'm going to... Oh, there she is! There she is on that frame, right in the middle. I was filming her without noticing. So there you go, there's the queen. So we'll put her very carefully in the box over here with the rest of the frames, tape it up, and then transfer it to the farm. So with the bees safely in this box, the flying bees that were out foraging have now nowhere to go. And it won't take them very long to walk around the outside of here and into this hive, and I'm sure there won't be too much fighting because they're bringing gifts of pollen and nectar.
How square I am.
Let me go.